Hi, everybody. Great to have you back. I'm Jon Meterparel with the Athletic Director, Blake James. Blake, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thanks. And we are sitting here today after 3 football games. Crazy how fast the season flies by. Team is 1-2. Just your overview of where they are at this point.
Well, obviously not where you want to be. When you look at the schedule at the start of the year, everyone wants to, win all your games. I know Bill and our guys want to win all their games, and so when you don't win games, you're disappointed to some level. I thought, we came out week 1. Obviously, it's a game you have to win and dominate, and we did that. Week 2, you're at Michigan State. Great environment, Big Ten. I thought we were the better team, and credit to Michigan State, they got they found a way to win that night. And last week was a tough one. You're traveling west and all that, and but I really took it as the turnovers were really the key to the game. I mean, I think 21 points off the 3 turnovers. We don't get any turnovers, and obviously that's on us. We got to fix that, but we got the coach to do it, and I know the guys are going to work hard and be ready to go next week for Cal.
Yeah, Cal should be terrific. A sellout crowd. You have a great schedule coming up. Challenging schedule, as we've said throughout the year. But the good news for BC fans is, or college football fans in general, there's a lot of events coming up on that schedule.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's and as you touched on, you and I have talked about it for whatever January when we got the schedule. It's a very challenging. It's a great schedule. It's a fun schedule. Whatever adjective you want to use, you can use it. When we look at Cal for Family Weekend, Cal's in 3-0 right now, and they're going to come in here looking to get a victory. That'll be a great game. Then you go to Pittsburgh, and that's always tough. And then you come back here, and we go Clemson, UConn, back-to-back weekends, and those are both big games. We have a rivalry with Clemson. Dates back with the trophy there with Clemson, and then UConn, you've got a border battle, and those ones always matter. So yeah, it should be an exciting next 4 games, and one I'm looking forward to watching our guys play and go out there and execute our game plan, and hopefully coming away with some victories. Game
day's been fun as well. Some tweaks to Alumni Stadium and what's going on there. Have you been happy? Oh, you only had that one game against Fordham, but you're happy with the way things are headed in terms of the game day experience?
Yeah, we had some things that to fix. As I said to our staff after that game, we were kind of like the duck. We looked good on top of the water. I'm not sure everyone knew how we were going underneath the water, and those are things that we'll address. That we've addressed it internally, or we will address internally, and hopefully make it an even better experience for our fans that come out on Saturday, the 27th. To Family Day, and 3:30 kick, and so that's great because we have pops the night before, and so our event and facilities staff, they're working around the clock that weekend with, building up to the Pops event. The Pops event ends late Friday night, and then they got to transition everything over and move, in this case, Cal into those locker rooms that are being used by the talent that perform at Pops and all those things. So, it's a really busy weekend. Again, we get just a great response from our fan base, the parents that come back to campus and family that come back to campus. It always makes it a premium ticket. And then you got a 3-0 Cal team. And I guess I'm not sure if they're playing this weekend or not, but worst case scenario, they're coming in here at 3-1, and they could be a 3-0 or 4-0 team coming in here, and so that'll be a fun game that looking forward to watching our team go out and play.
Yeah, they got San Diego State this weekend, and so their non-league schedule continues. But yeah, it's always nice to get a new opponent too. BC hasn't seen Cal in close to 40 years, so I think that's good.
I'm going to trust your knowledge there on the historical aspect of it. So
I will.
How did we do 40 years ago?
I think it was a win, but you put me on the spot. Yep. I'm still diving through my Cal information, but either way, I think it's good. I talked to a lot of fans, and they say, oh, yeah, great. We get a new opponent. That's also kind of a good development for BC.
No, it is. And again, it's great to have Cal and Stanford in the league. Again, long trip for us out to Stanford last week. It's a long trip for Cal to come here, next weekend. But that's just a reality of where college sports is at. College sports has really changed. The alignment of our leagues has grown, and I guess you'd say the alignment, the footprint of our leagues has grown. And to have 2 great academic institutions like Cal and Stanford joining our league, I think made a lot of sense for a variety of reasons when we made that addition. And obviously for them to come in here, it is one looking forward to having that game with Cal here next Saturday at 3:30.
How are things proceeding with the revenue share agreement $20.5 million schools were allotted by decree of government, and then also NIL. How are things going in both areas?
They're going well. Again, you look at it, July 1st is when this all started, and then you date back, and I think you and I spoke about this on a previous conversation. The judge didn't make the decision, I want to say, until like Friday, June 6th. So when we thought the decision was coming in April, it really didn't come until June. Now, again, we had a good idea it was coming, and so we were preparing, but then just to get everything ready for July 1st. And so, whether it's our staff internally in the athletic department, from Colin Schaefer and Craig Anderson and Shauna Cobb, who are termed as by the NCAA as our change champions, working with, in as we're talking here today, football, but, so many of our programs, to then partners on campus to putting systems in place that allow us to revenue share, with our student athletes. And so just a lot really went into it. So what are we, from July 1st to today, 2.5 months, a little over 2.5 months in, I think we're at a good spot. It's something we're continuing to learn. It's continuing to evolve, but it's a reality of where things are at, that revenue share is a part of it. The institution has been, great at working with us in terms of, like I said, whether it's getting payments to the kids or just, really helping give us the opportunity to share revenue. And so It's important for everyone to know we are sharing revenue, and it's something that, we're working through this, and it's one that will continue to evolve, because revenue sharing through the House Settlement will continue to evolve. The number gets evaluated on a regular basis. And you touched on the $20.5 million that it is for this year. That number will change in the future. And so to me, it's important that we're playing by the rules of the sandbox that we live in, and that we're allowing our teams to have the opportunity to compete at the highest level.
No, that's the way it has to be. The winter sports on the horizon. Teams are already getting set to come out officially in practice. What's the prognosis for all the winter sports, do you think?
Well, I think it's different for different sports. Obviously, you look at a program like men's hockey, and it's hopefully maintaining the standard. Look at what Coach Brown has done in his 3 years. It's very impressive, and but that's where BC hockey has kind of established that we're going to be at. And again, credit back to Coach York and everything Jerry did with the program through his years, for Greg to grab that baton and the challenge of maintaining that elite level. It's always hard to follow a legend in a head coaching position. And I think Greg's done an incredible job, and excited to watch that team. And then, you look at, men's, women's basketball. I think there's some real opportunities for some, steps forward, and excited to, watch and see what they're going to do. And then, women's hockey, they're kind of right on the cusp. I've spoken with Katie a number of times about, just a couple of games last year where we're probably favored that we ended up losing. Had we win, we're an NCAA tournament team, and you just have a different feel on it. So again, it's different spots for different teams, and we could go down the list from I'm gonna probably put myself in a bad position. I'll mix something, but so many of our winter sports. Skiing had a really good year last year. Fencing, our fencing program. Our swimming and diving programs get going, and so I'm setting myself up to have one of my coaches mad at me for who I missed. I can't think of it as right now. But yeah, we got so many different ones. Yeah, we got so many different ones going on that it's a real busy time of year. But that's what we signed up for. And that's what's great about working in college athletics. And it has me excited to get up every morning, get in the office, and figure out what are the things that we can do to better support our coaches, to meet our expectations as an institution, and to give our student athletes the best experience possible. Obviously, they signed up to a world-class institution to get an incredible degree in a field that they have a real passion for, and then play a sport that they love. And so how do we make sure we're checking all the boxes on everything they do to have that experience be the best possible one that they can have as a young person here at Boston College?
A fun part of that experience, too, is red bandana games. It's not just football. There's been red bandana games in other sports. That's a good carryover that BC has built on an amazing tradition.
Yeah, it's an amazing tradition. Obviously, when you look at Welles Crowther, and we just passed September 11th, I guess a week ago today, actually.
Yeah.
And so it's one where I think it's important that we never forget what happened on that day. And I think Boston College and what we do really helps people remember and recognize what so many people did to, and someone like Welles and just the incredible person that he was to, give his life to save others.
Absolutely.
That we continue to recognize that. And so, it's one that it's important that we as an institution, we as a country continue to recognize that. And I think our Red Bandana games are a part of keeping that alive and making sure people never forget what happened on that day and all the lives that were lost and all the heroes that we had, the first responders and everything that did so much to make a difference on that day.
Well said. Definition of a hero, Welles Crowther, and the definition of a BC man. Do unto others like they would do unto you, and no one did better than that.
Yeah,
than Welles Crowther.
No doubt about it, and it's an incredible story and one that I think ESPN has done a great job of really continuing to share that message.
You touched on something in terms of the competitiveness aspect of what the ACC is now, a slim margin of error, not just football but every sport. Are you seeing parity throughout the ACC? Or are you seeing parity throughout college sports? Has the field been flattened, so to speak?
Yeah, it's a tough question. I would say, yeah, we're seeing, a lot more parity. I don't think anyone in South Bend or in Clemson, South Carolina would think that they're sitting at 0-2 and 1-2 respectively, just like I don't think anyone in Chestnut Hill was thinking we'd be sitting at 1-2. Right. And so it's everyone's investing, everyone's raising the bar. There isn't easy games. You have to take care of business and you have to execute your game plan. We touched earlier on, our 3 turnovers. Again, that's, obviously that was a big part of that game. And, in Stanford being able to be successful was them not turning the ball over. And so, it's a fine line. And it's one where, top to bottom, I think when you look at our league, obviously Miami's out there, ranked in the top 10 right now. And probably the one that, people look at in this league as being a top team, but I'm confident they're going to have a number of challenges as they go through the rest of their schedule because it's one where just there's so much and it's such a fine line. And what happens on a given Saturday with 18 to 22-year-olds making decisions, you just never know what it's going to be. And it's one where I think we'll see a lot of interesting games in the coming, I think it's 10 weeks, 11 weeks that we have left in the regular season.
Yeah, it's a sprint to the finish. You got one bye week towards the end on November 22nd. I was at an event last night with Dylan Lonergan, a fine representation of BC, an outstanding representation of BC, getting to learn more about him and his background and who he is as a person. BC has a great one in Dylan Lonergan, and he's built a nice resume through 3 games. I know he wants to get better. Bill wants him to get better. He will. But that's every team looks at a quarterback. You got a quarterback.
No, and again, I think the key there is you just said through 3 games. Dylan didn't come in here with 4 years of experience of starting 12 games, for some institution, and so Dylan's still really new to the whole college football experience. And, again, I think like, as you touched on, I think in his 3 games, he's looked very, impressive. And, at the same time, I think we'll look at a number of things where he can be better. And
Sure.
I think that's the exciting piece is we all know that he's going to be even better than what he's been. And that's great for Boston College football fans. And it's great for our offense and our defense, because if the offense is out there controlling things, the defense is on the sideline. And so, yeah, excited to watch Dylan continue to grow and evolve as a quarterback here for us, and looking forward to his game against Cal next Saturday.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Blake James, a pleasure. Great to see you, and good luck as we move ahead here.
Perfect. Always great to be with you, and go Eagles.
You got it. That's Blake James, the Athletic Director's Report.